Hi, I'm Peter.
And I'm Will.
And you're watching Anderson Jazz Jams.
Episode number 3.
This channel is brought to you by our generous Patreon supporters who give as little as $1 a month, and you can find the link below.
And this week we're going to play a song composed by Kurt Weill entitled Speak Low.
This week we're going to cover our technique tip. We're going to focus on our whole tone scale.
So the whole tone scale is based on whole steps, unlike the chromatic scale, which is based on half steps. But the whole tone scale has half the amount of notes. Because there's only 6 notes in the whole tone scale out of 12 total notes, that means there are 2 different whole tone scales. And the whole tone scale is very useful in jazz music because it can be used over the dominant 7th chord, and because there's 12 dominant 7th chords, each whole tone scale can be used over 6 different chords.
This week on Improve Your Improv, we're going to talk about the different kind of chords. In the 2-5-1, we have 3 main chords: the minor 7 chord, the dominant 7 chord, and major 7 chord.
We wanted to talk a little bit about the song called Tune Up because the chord structure in Tune Up is very simple, and it's just based on 3 2-5-1 chords: E minor 7, A7, and then D major 7. And then down a whole step. Down yet another whole step. Finally, it goes back to the original 2-5-1 progression.
On things you don't learn in music school, we're going to be talking about another thing that's really going to allow you to be working as a professional: dressing up when you perform.
A lot of musicians I hear kind of laugh at this concept, but dressing up and looking presentable makes a big difference to the audience. It shows them that you care about what you're doing, because let's face it, the presentation matters quite a bit to the audience. You want to think about dressing for the gig that you want to have. Even though you might think this performance doesn't really matter, I'll just show up in jeans and a t-shirt. But if you show up more presentable and more formal, then the audience will think that, hey, this guy deserves to be performing in a concert hall.
This week on Jazz Hangouts, we're going to be talking about the Whitley Bay Jazz Festival, which is in England. I have a shirt here of the Whitley Bay Jazz Festival. It's been going for decades. My brother and I got to perform there when we were in high school. For those listeners who are over in the UK, some of the great traditional jazz musicians from all over the world play there, so we highly recommend you checking out the Whitley Bay Jazz Festival.
And now we're going to head over to Patreon and make one of our Patreon Plus videos, which you can check out if you donate just $1 a month to hear us talk a little bit more in depth about how we approach jazz music. So see you in a bit.
We're back from Patreon. Now we're going to talk about our Gearhead review, and this week we're going to talk about my Buffet R13 clarinet. This particular one I've had since I was about 13 years old. Last year the silver had worn off so much that there was none left on the instrument, so I had it replated.
For Pete and I, we do have similar genetic DNA. Our oils in our hands tends to break down the keys and wear away a lot of the lacquer. For many of you out there, this may not be an issue. We have to get our instruments replated every once in a while. Buffets are hands down our favorite clarinets to play.
This week's lick of the week, we're going to feature the opening line on Charlie Parker's Parker's Mood.
So Charlie Parker, he's known for playing a lot of fast notes, a lot of complicated melodies and harmonies, but Jimmy Heath said that Parker's Mood was the only blues that Charlie Parker ever really played. And I think what he meant by that is that it's a kind of slow dirge and soulful blues, and a lot of the melodies that he came up with came from church hymns.
This week on Cats You Should Know, we're going to feature a friend of ours, a fantastic trumpeter named Dominick Farinacci. We went to Juilliard with Dominick. He was in Doha, Qatar for several years, handpicked by Wynton Marsalis as the musical director for the Dizzy's Club run by Jazz at Lincoln Center.
Just last year we got to perform with Dominick with the trombonist Steve Turre, the drummer Jimmy Cobb. Soon we're going to be coming out with the footage of that concert.
Dominick lives in the Cleveland area, and he's part of the Tri-C organization that puts together music lessons, camps, and workshops for dozens of high school students. We'd really appreciate if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the notification bell, give us a thumbs up, or even give us a comment below. Send us a video of you playing. Record it in landscape mode, either you playing your instrument, the lick of the week, or something you'd like to hear in the video. All of our Patreon supporters on the screen, and we want to acknowledge how grateful we are for all their support. Thank you for watching Anderson Jazz Jams, and see you next week.
Thank you.